You know something that's really starting to grind my gears when people talk about the Los Angeles Chargers? Everybody is making such a big deal about their lack of talent at wide receiver. Oh, well, they don't got nobody at receiver. Who's Justin Herbert going to throw the football to? A lot of y'all do not know about how Jim Harbaugh wins games. You go back to when he was the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. I bet you can't name me more than 2 wide receivers on that team during the Jim Harbaugh 49ers regime. The only 2 reliable pass catchers Harbaugh had during his stint in San Fran was Vernon Davis, who was a tight end, and Michael Crabtree, who only went for over 1,000 once during his career for San Fran. At Michigan, he never had elite wide receiver play. The way that Jim Harbaugh wins football games, or the way that Jim Harbaugh wins football games isn't by throwing the football 40, 50 times a game. He wants to run the football down your throat, and he wants to be more physical than you and better than you at the line of scrimmage, which means that most of the times his teams end up having really good offensive line and defensive line play. And that's why you don't need elite wide receiver play if you are the Los Angeles Chargers to not only win the AFC West, but to make it to the postseason. You see, the big misconception that a lot of fans have in today's NFL is that everybody thinks you need to have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill kind of duo that has success offensively, when that couldn't be further from the truth. Kansas City just won their 2nd straight Super Bowl with randoms at wide receiver. They had Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who's struggling with the Buffalo Bills. Rashee Rice was a rookie last year. He was the most reliable option in the pass game outside of Travis Kelce. The New York Giants, when they were winning Super Bowls, they never had outstanding wide receiver play. There's more ways to win in today's NFL than just throwing the football all over the field. You got to be able to run the football effectively to not only win the time of possession battle, but to be able to close out games. Justin Herbert has been able to produce at a top 10 level with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams being injured for the past 2 years. He was still doing really good with guys like Joshua Palmer and whoever else you throw out there wide out. When you have an elite quarterback, he can elevate the receivers that he has around him. And with Jim Harbaugh's method of winning, you know how he's going to get the most out of Justin? By not overly relying on him like how the Chargers have been over these last couple of years. He's actually trying to help Justin Herbert out and take some of the pressure off his shoulders. Yes, when you have an elite quarterback, he's supposed to be able to do more with less. So that's what you would expect out of a guy like Justin Herbert. But why Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts have been able to make deep playoff runs the last couple of years isn't all because they have great receivers around them, but because their team has had the ability to run the football in the postseason. Some of you guys overlook the importance of what it means to have an elite run game. When you have an elite run game, you can take time off the clock, keep the opposing offense off the field, and wear down the defense. That means a lot more than having these superstars at wideout. And there aren't too many teams that have been able to win championships having a star-studded cast of wide receivers. Name me the last time we've seen a team win the Super Bowl where they actually had a legitimate number 1 wide receiver that was ranked top 10 in the league. I mean, look at what's happening with the Las Vegas Raiders. They traded for Devontae Adams, but they still don't have a quarterback that's good enough to get him the football. You don't need elite receiver play to win in today's NFL. All you need is about 1 or 2 guys who are good enough to move the chains for you and can be consistent, Who is going to be that guy that Justin Herbert can depend on to be his safety blanket in third down situations, or somebody who he can go to get a big play? I'm glad you asked. Rookie wideout Lab McConkey is somebody who a lot of you guys need to pay attention to, because he's going to be this year's Puka Nacua. He was a second-round pick out of Georgia. He battled through some injuries last year, but when you look at his film, he's really sudden. You know, he's a smooth, fluid route runner. He's able to beat press man coverage. He can get off the line. Not only can he play slot, but he also can play outside as well. And he has a quick start get off. You know, he's one of those guys that you get the ball in his hands, he goes 0 to 100 real quick. He has a lot of acceleration. He can make guys miss with the ball in his hands. He is going to be, without a question, the Chargers' number one wide receiver this year. If you're somebody who plays fantasy football, you need to be targeting Lab McConkey in all your drafts, because he should easily go for over 100 plus receptions this year, and he should be the Chargers' leading wide receiver. And remind you who their offensive coordinator is, Greg Roman. For those of you guys who don't know who Greg Roman is, Greg Roman was Jim Harbaugh's offensive coordinator the first couple of years that he was in San Francisco with Colin Kaepernick. And Greg Roman, one thing that he does a lot is he has great run schemes. Every running back that you plug into his offense always produces at a really high level. When it comes to the passing game, though, he isn't somebody that runs a lot of 3-4 wide receiver sets. With him, he likes to utilize more heavy sets when he has a lot of tight ends on the field. 2-3 tight end sets is what you're going to see a lot out of the Chargers this year. So there really isn't a need for them to be 3-4 guys deep in their wide receiver room, when you're not going to be having too many wide receivers on the field at the same time anyway, just because of the structure of their offense. The Chargers are going to win games not because of how good they're going to be throwing the football, but because of how balanced they're going to be. They're going to be able, for the first time in Justin Herbert's career, to be able to play a complementary brand of football, being able to throw the football when they need be, but also being able to keep defenses off balance by the ability to run the football at an insanely high level with an improved offensive line and a really good defensive line. This is the way that the Chargers want to win with Jim Harbaugh. You don't need elite wide receiver play to win in today's NFL. Some of you guys need to go do your research, check your homework, and look at the amount of teams that have spent a lot of money at addressing receiver and how much that's worked out for them when it has come to them winning championships. I'm remind you one last time, Kansas City won the Super Bowl with randoms at wideout. That shows you that you don't need to be elite at that position to win, especially when you think about Jim Harbaugh's track record and how he has structured his offenses everywhere he succeeded at.